Black Hole Assembly Instruction Video, a companion piece for your black hole assembly manual. The black hole arrives A-framed as shown, with a smaller box containing the legs and overhead mounting tubes right here. The cordless screwdriver shown is not included, but having one will be very helpful. Remove both boxes from the frame as shown for easy access. First, remove the smaller box and set it off to the side. You will not need these parts immediately. With at least 2 people, gently set the table down. Remove the straps and box top, turn over the box top, and flatten it. This will provide a good work surface for assembly. To keep the table and the people assembling it from nasty scratches, we recommend removing all staples from the box at this time. You'll remove the staples from the box bottom as well. Be sure to note the long box containing the shield sets. Put this aside for later, as these will not be installed until the table and overhead have been fully assembled. Gently tilt the table up as shown and see 4 bolts securing the overhead assembly to the bottom of the table as well as the box light bulbs. We recommend removing those to avoid damage. Install them later in the assembly process. Now note the label on the coin door marked keys. You will find all keys to the table here. Coin door, service door, go lens. The service door keys will be needed during the assembly process. You'll remove next the 4 bolts securing the overhead display unit to the bottom of the table. Have one person remove the bolts and another person hold the overhead display unit to prevent it from falling once the bolts are removed. Save the bolts and move the display off to a safe place. Next, have 2 people gently set the table down upright and open the box of legs and overhead tubes. The box contains 2 U-shaped legs, 2 male overhead tubes, and 2 female overhead tubes. Male or female is defined by the joint over the table. Your assembly instructions include a detailed diagram as to the proper location of each overhead tube. Now we will need hardware to attach these legs, so open the exterior service door on the non-coin end of the table to remove the parts kits. From the left are the overhead mounting bracket and camera bulkhead. You'll use these later when mounting and setting up the overhead. Then there are the hardware packs, gameplay pack, and the overhead wire harness and overhead AC power harness. Contact your distributor immediately if any of these items are missing. To attach the legs, it will be helpful to turn the table upside down, keeping the styrofoam playfield protection pad in place to avoid damage. With the table top down, orient the legs so the holes for the levelers are aimed straight up. Now install the first leg bolt in the table using a spacer between the leg and the cabinet. The leg fits tightly against the cabinet, and there is a chance the spacer can damage the decal if you secure the leg too tightly. Be careful to pull the leg out away from the cabinet when moving or rotating it to avoid damaging the decal. Now that the legs are attached, you'll install the overhead wire harnesses. First, open the CPU access door. Take the overhead wiring harness from the parts kit. The end marked table side should go in the table and will be plugged into the cabinet-mounted electronics as shown in the assembly instruction booklet. The opposite end should be routed through the square-shaped wiring access hole found in both the leg and in the side of the cabinet. This end will connect to the overhead. On the opposite side of the table, open the fan door and route the table side of the overhead AC harness through the table and the opposite end through the square-shaped wiring access hole in the leg and cabinet. Now use a second leg bolt and 5/16" spacer to secure the legs to the table. You'll tip the table over and install the leg levelers at the base of the legs so the table can sit down on its base. The diagram in your assembly instructions will be crucial as to which overhead mounting tube is mounted in which spot. Feed the overhead wire harness through a female mounting tube and the overhead AC harness through a male mounting tube. The wire harness should be easily accessible and move freely through the top of the tube so you can feed them into the overhead. The other 2 overhead tubes on the opposite side of the table have no wiring and are far easier to install. With all 4 tubes in place, mount the overhead bracket atop where all 4 tubes join. Note that the overhead mounting bracket has 3 threaded studs where you'd expect 4. Align the bracket so the corner without a threaded stud is placed where the overhead wire harness is routed. Once aligned, you can use a rubber mallet to tap the overhead mounting bracket into place. And wow, the overhead's mounted. But in your case there, follow the detailed instructions in the manual for securing the overhead, plugging in the correct connections, and installing the bulbs, camera bracket, and safety diffuser grating. We recommend at least 2 people mount the overhead, even better if 2 people hold the overhead and a third installs the nuts and washers. Now set the table upright on its legs, install the remaining 4 leg bolts, fully tighten all leg bolts, secure all open service doors. For the finishing touch, install the shield set and your black hole table is ready for action.